Welcome to Business That Speaks. I'm Kelsie Downs, and this is a podcast about why your business matters and how challenges shape you. Let's get into our conversation now. This month, ARK Ramos is sponsoring Business That Speaks. ARK Ramos is a wholesale manufacturer right here in the heart of Oklahoma City. They work with architects, contractors, signage companies, and marketing and branding agencies. If you're looking for wholesale plaques or letters, reach out to arkramos.com. Welcome back to Business That Speaks. Today I have Stephanie Kramer here. She owns Puppy Paws Dog Hotels, and she also has a nonprofit, and she also runs the Edmond Community Center.
That's right.
That's right. We are so excited to have you here with us today. Can you just kind of run us through what did you start with first? How did you get into having a second business? And then what made you want to start a nonprofit?
Yeah, those are really
a lot of questions.
They are. I'm like, how can I answer these quickly? But really give you the full story. So Puppy Paws actually started back in the 70s when my mom was taken in as a young girl. Both of her parents had passed away, and she needed a place to go. So a lady had brought her into her home, taught her the skill and the trade. And I grew up there with this woman thinking that it was my grandmother and that all the other women there were aunts or cousins. And so we just grew up playing in dog hair. Dogs were my friends when I was little and just running around.
Was that here in Oklahoma?
Just being in the industry, yes.
It was?
Yes. And so a
wow.
lot of the old school groomers that have been around for, 30 plus years, I know very well.
Wow.
And so it's a really sweet, business and industry to, have in my childhood, pretending to be a dog or, I cut all my friends' hair growing up. My friend Philip one time cut his finger off. Dog scissors are very sharp. So.
Oh my goodness.
When we were little.
Did you play with your friends? Like my daughter right now, she's very into playing school and she lines up all of her babies and she's teaching them. Did you play dog groomer as a kid?
Everything. I mean,
everything was related to dogs.
Everything just free because back then too, right? Like my mom was busy working.
Right.
Physically with her body and so she was working a lot. And so I had freedom as a kid to just go and be and play and ride the street, on my bike through the streets and a lot of freedom. Puppy Paws is really, it's just been in my family for years. It wasn't until I was a stay-at-home mom, and I think I had 4 jobs. Everywhere I went, my kids went with me, and I had my dog groomed, Missy, which is my best friend. And she came back, and the way that she acted, I knew that she didn't have the best care, while she was getting groomed. And so I had called my mom, and I was like, hey, I just want to learn to cut Missy's hair. I couldn't afford back then, $100 to have my dog's hair done. I think back then it was $20.
Right. Right. But especially if your dog's gonna get hurt, you're like, I just should do this for them and make sure that they're safe and do it the right way. And it makes sense.
Yeah. I was just gonna take care of my little dog. And
until it turns into 2 different full doggy hotels.
Well, I mean, after you're doing 4 jobs and you're taking your kids with you, and then I realized not only do I have a passion for it, but I deeply love it. And so, the first clippers I had in my hand, I remember I was scared to touch the dog. I'd touch the dog, because I didn't want to hurt it. And still to this day, I think I've only been bit twice because when I'm grooming, I really like to listen to the dogs. They speak constantly with their body. They tell us so much. And so, I just really kind of perfected the art over the years. It took me a long time to get good at it, just because I went slow. I stayed home with my girls. I built our first little spot in our garage and built it up while they went to school. I would, at the time I was the president of the PTA, so I would take my kids to school, drop off my kids, and then mingle, do my job. And then I would take teachers' dogs home, practice with the teachers' dogs, and then
Wow.
take them back to the school. And yeah, just
And that's
built
how you
a
got your
business.
experience.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we went from my garage to, we bought land and then lived there growing our girls. And it wasn't until, they both got in school, and I just had more time to dedicate. And then I really enjoyed what I was doing. I loved being able to provide more services. One of our dogs that we had taken care of had gone off for boarding, and she came back and she had a chemical burn on her nose.
Aww.
And I remember thinking, oh, Abby, I love you so much. I'm so sorry that had happened. And I think what had happened was, they didn't remove the dog before they put down the chemical to clean the bedroom. And so there are little, standards and practices when caring for animals in a larger, aspect that, if they're not done right, sometimes little things. And so I remember thinking I could, I got really good at perfecting systems.
That's what I was about to ask. Are you more operational? Because it sounds like you have built and scaled both, it was one and now you have 2 locations, and then you also have another business and a nonprofit. So do you feel like you're more gifted with that operations, systems, processes, and how to outline what needs to be done when it needs to be done? And
yeah. I think it goes both. It's hand in hand too, right? I have a really deep desire for excellence.
Yes.
Not perfection, just if it's something that you really care about and you really want to do it well. And so I think it's that combined with, I don't like to waste time.
Yeah.
And so every time I would turn around and grab a clipper, right? When I'm holding these clippers in my hand, what's everything I do, with the dog, and then also what the dog's allowing. So I just got really good at systems. In fact, we were named recently by one of the largest national hospitality brands as one of the top 1% for systems and the way that the business is ran.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And I mean, I have a system or an SOP kind of for everything.
Yeah.
Like a finger swipe for the dog bowls to make sure they're fresh and clean. And so, yeah, I've just had fun playing with dogs literally for 20 years.
That's incredible. That is really, really incredible.
Yeah.
So back when you were doing this in your garage, you said that was around 2020? Or was that before that?
Yeah. So that was COVID year.
That's what I
was
thought.
In business about 15 years when COVID hit. So,
okay.
And that changed the game.
Did it?
I mean, for everyone.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think whenever we originally had chatted, I was like, 6 years is so short for how much you've done, but it wasn't. You had been in business for 15 years at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
and how old are your kids now?
Yeah. In August, we're celebrating our 20th anniversary.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. I have Jordan, who's 27, Aubrey, who's 24.
Okay.
And then, when Jordan went off to college is when we opened our home for foster care. So we had
maybe this is what I'm remembering then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
very
just
cool.
stay-at-home mom, working, grew the businesses, systems, everything's running great. Having a little bit more time to give back. We had taken in a little boy. He was 7 months when we got him, and then met his siblings in foster care. They were all split up and weren't together. And so at the time, I just kept thinking, I have no business. I am running these, my dream business, and they're beautiful, and then having this many kids at the time, they were 3, 2, and 7 months. And then a year later, mom got pregnant again. And so,
then you have 4 under 5.
Yeah, it just kept coming. And I kept thinking, well, if we don't, who's going to keep them together?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, after being exposed to what's out there, that's when I realized keeping the siblings set together was the call. And so, yeah, then I had to switch gears and learn how to do my job and do it well, and also do what I was called to do.
Yeah.
So then systems become all the more,
I was about to ask, how did you, with taking in 4 little ones, how did that work at home with the systems? Like, you clearly are very gifted in that, but how did you bring that into your
well,
home?
the kids, it's all about the prep for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. How you prep your day, wake up early, be ready. I mean, we used to lay out outfits, prep the milk, the sippy cups, all the bottles.
This is what we're doing all day. Did you have kind of quite a bit of structure to every day?
Yeah. So the cool thing when you foster and you become a foster parent, if you're a working mom, they provide childcare for you. And so anyone who's DHS approved can watch your kids. And so I found the best daycare. Kim Self, they actually have daycares named after her in little signs because she runs such a tight ship. So she's been in Edmond running a daycare for as long as I've been in business. She's coming to take care of the dogs next. I keep telling her. So
you're recruiting her?
A recruit, yeah. When she retires.
Yes.
Yeah. So, finding good child care. And I always tell people too, you think when you want to start out fostering, you have to have it all together. But really, what the state provides and how they can, help bridge the resource gaps. So yeah, we got childcare taken care of for 4 kids when typically as a working mom, you
wouldn't be able to afford that.
You would not be able to afford that.
No.
So
there's no way. It would be so expensive. Okay. So then they're going to school, daycare for the day. And then you had, I'm assuming, pick up from daycare, maybe playtime, food, bath, bed,
it's the best part because then you don't think about work.
Fun. I know it is. It's so fun.
Yeah.
And they're so sweet when they're reading books with you and they're all cuddled up in bed. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy whenever you do own a business and you care for it so much and you build it, right, with your own hands.
Yes.
Which can be idol worship. Idols, can be the works of our hands. And so giving me something to think about, away from work, it was good. That's sweet. So
that is very sweet.
Yeah.
Kind of pressing more into that, I had a question come up when you mentioned idol worshiping. Did you feel like the Lord convicted you during that season of that maybe work had become an idol, or was there any?
I think I feel like the Lord's always saying, why are you doing this? Who are you building this for? What's the purpose?
Yeah.
I think when you can dial in your heart to what you're building and really just make sure that it's building from a good foundation, everything else makes sense.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's something we all need to be aware of, especially as a creator. I mean, I have so many ideas. The Lord has blessed me with ideas. So yeah.
Yeah. That made me think of another question. Because you were saying kind of dialing that in, what does that look like for you? Like, how practically on a daily basis, what does that look like? Because we can speak broadly, I guess, but it's okay, what does that look like for you?
I know. It's so funny. Recently, I had shared with someone my routine, and their response was, wow, you're in that season? And I was like, that's a season? I thought it was an interesting response.
Yeah.
And I think that everybody's needs are different, And so if I tell you the way that I spend time with the Father, I think it looks different for everyone. So I'll share with you what I do.
Yeah.
But what I would like to encourage any woman creator would be just that's it. It's just to spend time with the one who created you, the one who gave you the gift,
Absolutely.
And just bring it back to him. So I have a whole routine every morning to get my marching orders, and I usually 2 hours, What
time does that put you waking up?
I usually get up at 5.
Yeah.
Sometimes 4:30, if I'm really excited.
Yeah.
I like to match the sunrise,
yes.
Or be up just a little bit before.
Yes.
It gives me just plenty of time in the Word, to take all the cares and all the concerns, that's in my heart, and just journal it out. I love the Bible app and matching, scriptures with pictures and, really putting it to work.
Yeah.
So,
And giving yourself the space to really focus. I think one thing I've noticed are the mornings where I'm waking up with my daughter at the same time versus I'm a huge morning person. I have to have my alone time with the Lord every morning, and it's been that way for the last 7 years now, every morning. And so if she's up in the middle of the night sick, or I am too, and then I'm getting up with her, what I miss is the focus. I can't fully focus in on that time with journaling and reading the Bible as much as I could if I was by myself alone in the quietness of, my home in the early morning. But that God is always there.
Mm-hmm.
He's always near. And I can experience him without even having to sit and really, really focus and study on that particular day. And the ways that one thing my mentor, I think, was, and I think we even talked about this, was the ways that it is written on your heart. The longer and longer you're in the word daily, it's written on your heart. Mm-hmm. It's written on your mind and on your body as you're moving throughout the day. And I think it's so important for us to not try to lump Stephanie's routine onto Kelsie's life, or God has us exactly where we're supposed to be for the exact time that we're at, and we have all that we need
mm-hmm.
where we're at. And so I think that's the challenge for me.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Yeah. I think as there were times and seasons where I would have to wake up and grab my phone and look at the YouVersion scripture. And if I couldn't hold on to the whole scripture, just a word, right? It's
that's great.
What word do you want me to hang on to today? What promise or what, just keeping our eyes looking up. I feel like there's so much chaos all around. And then when you're trying to lead through that chaos, Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So how much of your day-to-day is spent at Puppy Paws?
So my typical routine is I usually wake up in the morning and spend a few hours in the Word. I like to lock in early on my computer, on my back patio, and I'll spend several hours working in the back, making sure. That's when I do my computer work.
Yeah.
I check in on I have a whole system to where I try to check my emails. I'll give myself a good hour in the morning and an hour to close out my day.
Yeah.
And then for my phone, I usually try to look at it at the first 5 minutes of every hour. And I have 5 minutes to respond to the people who work for me that need the questions. If anything else is fluff or, not necessary or just for fun, then I'll save that for after 5.
Yeah.
Typically we meet with our team weekly. We run our teams on Traction. And so we've been running Traction for about 7 years now. It's been really great. Our team all comes with numbers, each department representing. And so it's just beautiful and fun. I get to hear, and we really dial in on all the little things. What else? With the dogs and my routine, I get to play. I love being organic and, showing up and, popping in and, doing things that I love, working behind the scenes too.
Yeah. So you're doing more of the computer head down work in the mornings, and then you can pop in and play with the dogs and enjoy the team and kind of have that whimsy.
Well, for instance, this morning I got to lead a dog massage, and I got to watch a mom or a friend of a dog. So these two, and she starts petting this dog, and she thinks that he's having allergies, and I'm like, oh no, watch him. And so what he's doing, I'm like, it feels really good. What you're doing feels good. And so I said, keep doing it and just let's see what happens. And so she kept doing it, and then all of a sudden he got so into it the hair on his neck started standing. I was like, look, you're making the hair on his neck stand up. Keep doing it. And she was like, okay. And so I was guiding her through the process of massaging this dog. And within 2 minutes, she was like sprawled out. And we were all like, anyway, so just reading dogs, body language.
And helping interpret it to her. Because what a gift for her to get to experience that. That's so fun. That's so fun. That's a lot of joy. You get to experience a lot of joy in those moments. Wow, that's really cool. Okay, so then how many employees do you have at each spot? And then tell me the locations of each one.
Yeah, so we have 2 locations, one in Edmond, one in Northwest Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Our campuses are made to reflect each other. So our systems, are the same at both locations.
Okay.
They look the same. They should feel identical when you walk into them. That was our hope. My hope was to deliver the kind of love, care, and excellence where I started from the very beginning to the client at every interaction. And so just like you'd go to McDonald's and get a cheeseburger, that cheeseburger is going to taste the same every time, right? Like you're not going to decide how much ketchup. And, I got this out of a book, just FYI.
I know. I'm like, what book is this? I'm remembering.
CEO.
Right.
So, but it's like we want to all have creativity when we show up to work, but how we care for, the animals and all the fun things. So I love just nerding out on all of that. Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay. So, I looked at the timer and I was like, oh my gosh, we've talked for a long time and didn't even realize it. What is something that has been very challenging in growing Puppy Paws? Like when you look back over the last 20 years, what's one of the biggest moments that has shaped you and the way that God used that moment to shape you? And share as much or as little as you feel comfortable, obviously.
Yeah, no, those are really good questions. I think, over the years, it's just learning how to do things different. I think being a leader, being open, and staying teachable.
Yeah.
When we think we have it all, we know it all, we don't. There's so much more to learn, and
Isn't that the truth?
There's always so much more, and it gets so much sweeter and sometimes even harder. I've heard, I have followed Craig Rochelle in every leadership podcast he's ever made. He's one of the greatest leaders of our time. So if you're not leading, if you're not hurting, then you're not leading, Yeah. And leadership does hurt.
Yeah, it does.
And so I think the biggest challenge for me is dying to self.
Yeah.
And I think it goes back to like, what mission, or what calling do you have? And now when I look back over my story and I see where I come from and how I learned the industry and how, my mom had work because a lady invested in her, it makes me want to all the more give that same gift to other women,
Absolutely.
And men to alike, just to be able to provide for our families. Sometimes our gifts aren't just for us to hold on to, it's to share with others.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. So you would say that leading and loving deeply has led to a lot of hurt. Obviously a lot of joy too, but that has been one of the bigger challenges you've experienced.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I second that as well. But it's worth it, right?
Mm-hmm. When you get to the other side, it's worth it. Yeah. I think for me, it's making sure I see everyone to safety. It's like if we can all just get to where we need to be, there's a place for all of us,
Yes.
And it's a beautiful world whenever we can all show up and work in the garden that God gave us with our own giftings and just be able to do good work.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and figuring out where those pieces are and being able to see those things. And listening to the Lord and seeing those giftings in other people and being able to put them in the right seat so they can flourish, which I think is one of the most challenging things we go through as leaders. And it's also something Traction talks about, right person, right seat.
Is everything.
Which is very, very helpful. And the question of like, what is it? Willing, like you are willing and you're capable and you have capacity to like take this rock on, you know? I've always
because you
loved
could
that.
be willing and you could want it so badly.
But you don't have the capacity.
You don't have the capacity.
Yeah. And to be able to answer those questions so honestly, I think is so important. So when did you start the Edmond Community Center?
So that's a fun story. That would need its own
Maybe
podcast.
its own podcast. Okay.
Oh, it's such a fun story.
Okay.
So we have a lady on our team who, you know, she could have used the extra income. We didn't have a spot to host our traction meetings at the time. We had our break room just full of, you know, we had offices in our break room. And so we leased out a portion of her house at the time to help this employee. And then we used it as a meeting spot, just so our team could get away and we could, you know, problem solve and identify the issues and all the things. So it got to the point to where our team was just growing and we needed an office, and we found a commercial building at the time that was for sale, and it didn't make sense. The price that it was, and everyone was like, there's something wrong with it. There was nothing wrong with the building. We got a really great deal, and it's been fun and really, honestly, God has opened up so many doors through this space because, you know, the 4 kids that we've adopted in foster care, you know, that comes with its own challenges of being able to provide the right space for them and, you know, what they need. And so we have a little micro school that's inside of that building where they get the best teachers. And right now what we're doing is we're building a community center of women who are working moms. And in this community, it's like, what all do moms need to work well? And so I would love for Recess OKC to come.
I know, Paige. Have you talked to her?
I tag her almost every day. Please come, please come.
She lives in my neighborhood, so you should just come down. We'll go on a walk and we'll just stop by Paige's house. That was exactly what was coming to my mind when you were talking about that. Was Paige.
So right now we have a therapist, we have an accountant, we have an attorney, and it's so fun. The mixes, so half of the building is professional, the other half is being built out for kids co-working, kids community school. I would love to see some STEM. Here's the creator.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm like, Lord, whatever it is, right? But we want to do it well.
That's right. Yeah. You know, you want to be intentional and do it well. And look at the whole picture and not just put something in just to put something in. It's like, no, how is this going to work together for the good of all, you know, involved? That's really cool. So that's the future. The next couple of years is what we're going to see kind of come to be.
That's the hope.
Okay. Well, I think we should do another podcast episode on that. Yeah. Just to hear a little bit more about what you're doing over there. Yeah. Is there anything right now that is inspiring you or just makes you really excited when you look to the future? And even if you just want to look at the rest of this year, like what's something you're really excited for?
So right now we are gearing up for our 6th annual Sweetest Day Ever event, which is a one-day event where we invite the local community to come out and celebrate selected foster families that went through a nomination process that are currently fostering families that are in our community doing it well. So they're advocating for the kids, they're helping the workers, right? They're in it, you know, not just to adopt, but to bridge with the families, the foster families that we're really looking for. Yeah. Those are the ones that we're celebrating. And then we invite the community. We are targeting every church right now. I have emailed every church in our city.
Look at you.
Asking them to send 3 potential foster families
to the event. Is it on a Saturday?
It's on a Saturday.
4 hours or?
It's on a Saturday, October 10th from 4 to 8 p.m. We feed the entire lawn. So last year we fed about 600 people. Thank you, Hideaway Pizza. We feed the lawn. We provide a talent show. It's just a fun night. But our hope is to bring all of Oklahoma, nonprofit resources, anything that has to do with Oklahoma foster care to this event, and that we target the people who are wanting to get involved, who want to know more, and that they come, that they're entertained, they're fed well, and that we directly give them those resources they need. So
they can connect with other people, ask questions, get the information they need. Wow, that's so cool. October 10th from 4 to 10. Or 4 to 8, and you said it'll be, where is it located?
It's at Stevenson Park.
Okay. Is that in Edmond?
Stevenson Park in Edmond.
Stevenson Park in Edmond.
And any other woman business who wants to get involved right now, I mean, I'm doing the math. Okay. So there's more than 80,000 women-owned businesses in our state alone. And we have 7,000 kids in foster care. If every woman-owned business were to just take their extra overflow, whatever it is. God specifically says to care for the widows and orphans.
Yeah.
And so I just have this excitement to call women in business, women in the church. Right now in Oklahoma County, we have 1,300 kids just in our backyard, me and your 1,300 kids with less than 500 homes available. And there are children by the dozens that are sleeping in DHS offices because they don't have a bed to sleep in. And so when I drive down my neighborhood and I see all the homes and open bedrooms and space, that's what I'm getting excited about.
Yeah.
Calling the family is the ones who have a heart, because we need help.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I would love to come, and I would also love to bring people.
Okay.
A few people were even coming to mind as you were speaking, so I feel like that's probably the Lord. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you for doing what you're doing.
You're a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what God does.
Yeah. This community needs more people like you. And so keep doing what you're doing. And I'm praying for you, and I'm cheering for you. And I'm coming alongside you to support you in whatever the ways God calls me to. So, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Remember, October 10th, if you have ever been interested in foster care or supporting families that are opening their homes for foster care, this is a great opportunity for businesses to get involved, for families to get involved. I'm sure she needs sponsors. I'm sure she needs money, food, anything like that for the event. Contact her, Stephanie Kramer. It's going to be October 10th from 4 to 8 p.m. at Stevenson Park. And we will see you next time. Thank you guys for joining us today. Thanks for listening to Business That Speaks. If there was anything that stood out in today's conversation, I would love to hear about it. Please get online and leave us a review. Follow me on Instagram, connect with me on LinkedIn, do all of the things, and we'll see you back here next time.